Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Absolute Reviews here, and finally, the day has come. Spider Man Brand New Day is finally out. Hell yeah. Let's go. I'm gonna review it. I'm gonna give you all my thoughts and everything what I thought about the film. And so let's just get into it. I will be doing non spoilers first, so I'll just give you my quick little synopsis and thoughts of what I thought overall about the film. And then later we'll dive deep into all the spoilers and everything. So I think I would honestly probably give it an 8.5, probably leaning more towards a 9. I'm pretty lenient with my 10 out of 10s. I don't really give things 10 out of 10s very often, even if I really fucking love a movie. A 10 out of 10, I need to usually sit with it for a minute, maybe watch it a few more times to really appreciate it and give something a 10 out of 10. So who knows? Maybe in a few months to a year, I could give this a 10 out of 10. I could give it an 8 and keep it down to an 8, but right now I'm going to give it a 9. Honestly, there's just so much about this film that I fucking love. Tom Holland. Dude, he is the fucking man. I think this is the most comfortable he's ever felt in a role as Spider-Man, especially just seeing him and his performance and what he has done with the character and the writing and the direction that they're going with this character. You can tell he really cares and listened to what the fans want and what the fans have said online, and you can tell he's really put all of that into this role and into this performance and into this film. You really see that. He's the fucking man, right? And his performance, everything about him, he's just Spider-Man. To me, I'm always going to be an Andrew Garfield guy, but after this film, Tom might be my new favorite. He's just, to me, he's Spider-Man. He's just the way he plays him, the way he portrays him. This is the most Spider-Man and the most Spider-Man he's ever felt, and he's just so good. Every scene he's in, he's great. The suit looks great. The way the suit looks and the way he moves around in it. Obviously, I've talked about how good that suit looks and how much I love that suit. And seeing him move around and swing so good, right? We've wanted Tom to have a New York swinging scene for fucking ever, and we didn't really get that in the home trilogy. There was bits and pieces here and there, but it wasn't like, a Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, him swinging and moving around, dodging bullets and saving people and taking down gangs and criminals and all of that. We finally got that, and he's just so good. The way they made him move around and swing and take down people. He's just that's Spider-Man. I was getting kind of like flashbacks of the opening to TASM 2, very much a very similar opening in this film. And just the way he moves around, like that's just Spider-Man, you know, cuz he's not Iron Boy Jr. anymore. We actually see Tom be the Spider-Man I always knew he could have been. And this film really just fucking proves that. He's the fucking goat, dude. So, shout out Tom, he's the man. Also, that opening, that montage, the opening is just incredible. That montage, first of all, we get that Marvel logo, and it's all Spider-Man scenes. And in the intro, Peter is slowly disappearing from the films, and then we get that like big the circle that like is the spell to show like, oh, we don't know Peter Parker anymore. That was great. And then we get that montage. I fucking love it because we get to see what Ned and MJ are up to. We get to see how much time has passed. We get to see what Peter has been up to. It's great. We get to see Scorpion. Michael Mando actually got to put on that suit and be Scorpion. He's not in it for very much, but he's still great. We get a Tombstone cameo, which is cool. We get the hand, which I thought that opening scene would kind of have a little more of the hand, maybe a Daredevil cameo or something, but that's okay. It didn't really need it. The film did just fine without a Daredevil cameo, but I think that would have been nice. Also, DeWolf, I thought she was a great rendition. When I saw that this actor was getting casted in this film, I was like, hell yeah, let's go, because she's on The Bear and she's incredible in The Bear. And I thought, oh, John Bernthal's Punisher, this actor from The Bear, who's also in The Bear, is going to be in this film. Let's go. They don't really have any scenes together, which is fine, but just seeing these actors that have worked together be in the same movie together, is great. They don't really have any scenes together, but that's okay. They don't really need scenes together. But just this actor is great, and I like her as the Wolf. I like this kind of almost Batman and Jim Gordon relationship that they got going on. Maybe a little different. She's more of a Batman and Gordon are more like friends, whereas this is more of a mentory kind of almost she's almost motherly like figure to him, and she's looking out for him, and they're chatting on the phone like they're friends. It's really cool. I like that a lot. She was great, and I like how everybody in New York, because that's the thing that was missing from the Home trilogy is in a Spider-Man film, especially New York is like such a big like character in itself almost, and all these different unique people and characters and streets and the boroughs of New York and everything. We didn't get to see that really in the Home trilogy. So seeing the people of New York collectively like come together and they love Spider-Man and they root for Spider-Man, it's great. I was very reminiscent of the Raimi films. I really liked. Another thing, not really a big spoiler, is the music in the film I thought was very nice. They put a couple of like pop songs, like some Tame Impala and Steve Lacy in there that I thought really worked. Like the musical score, Michael Giacchino is the fucking man. Everything that man touches, he's so good. The Batman theme, Fantastic Four First Steps, obviously Up, The Incredibles. Like this guy, if you see his name for a soundtrack for a movie, it's gonna be so fucking good. He's the man. Him, maybe Hans Zimmer, and like John Williams. He's up there with them. In my opinion, he's that good. The action in the film was really nice. Again, like I said, the way he's moving around and zipping and swinging was done very nice. And they blended a lot of practical effects and stunt work with a lot of CGI, and I thought it blended very seamlessly and looked very nice. Also, the cinematography of the film looked really good. And there's certain scenes that have like these sunsets and they just look incredible. They just look so good. There was a couple of scenes where I was like, some of the CG is not enough to where I was like, damn, that looks like shit. Nothing like that. The film looks incredible all the way through, and it's just so good. I love the way it looked. Destin Daniel Cretton is the fucking man, and I liked John Watts and what he did with the Home trilogy, but Destin Daniel Cretton, he's the man. He's slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite working directors because Shang-Chi was great. Wonder Man was amazing. R.I.P. season 2. But Wonder Man was amazing. Obviously, Brand New Day's fucking peak. So who knows what he's gonna do further? Probably another Spider-Man film. He's probably locked down for the trilogy, to be honest. That's probably why Wonder Man got canceled because Destin's just locked down with Spider-Man. And if Wonder Man got canceled for more Spider-Man, sorry Wonder Man, but I ain't complaining. It's fucking Spider-Man. Come on. And Destin, he's just the man. You can tell he just understands these characters and Spider-Man. You can tell he understands, Punisher and Sadie Sink's character, who I'll get into in a minute. Hulk, obviously. The Wolf was a nice rendition. Great. Just a good overall arcing film. And one thing that I personally really liked, The Punisher was a very nice rendition. I thought, he was a bit jokey, but for this version and for this story that they wanted to tell, I thought for a PG-13 Spider-Man film, and you're seeing him from like Spider-Man's kind of point of view on him and how he is around Peter, obviously, he's not going to be all, F, 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 kill, 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 he's not going to be like that. He was like that a little bit, but obviously, I think when he's around Spider Man, I think he's a little more tame. He's a little more chill. He's a little more calm. He's a little more tame. And, they kind of have this bond, this like friendship. The story that they wanted to tell and where they were going in the direction of this story and this arc of Spider Man, I think Punisher was a nice rendition. I think Tom and John Bernthal are great actors and have great chemistry. And I think Punisher, like I said, he was a bit jokey, but nothing that really brought it down. Where I was like, the Punisher, why is he making jokes? Why is he being jokes? It's like he himself wasn't making jokes. It's just what he was saying and how he was acting was funny. It wasn't typically a joke per se. Like when he was like, Is that my gun? And he shows up to the Hulk and he's just, oh, and he's like, oh, and he's shooting, That's what when there's the scene at the end specifically that I'll get into, which I really liked between them. The Punisher was a great rendition. I liked him a lot. He's great. And just their chemistry, the way they fight, the way they bicker, the way they were, there's this thing about Staten Island that they don't really show in the movie or anything, but we get reference to it. Kind of like in the Avengers, we get Nat and Natasha and Hawkeye's Budapest thing. They talk about like Budapest, but we don't see what happened at Budapest. But we they reference it, and it was kind of like that. Like we didn't really need to see it, but it brings these two characters kind of closer together and something that they can kind of talk about and reference that brings the relationship kind of closer. And I like that. They talk about like Staten Island, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna give me that shit," and it was really funny, just them bickering and fighting, and very, very brotherly. Punisher was like this rugged older brother to Spider-Man that I just really appreciated, and I liked that a lot. You know, and so Punisher in a PG-13 movie, not bad. Especially in a Spider-Man movie. I don't want to go into a Spider-Man movie and see Punisher murdering a fucking 100 people. Blood everywhere, blood and guts everywhere, and just Punisher just murdering people. You don't really want that in a Spider-Man movie. So him being toned down a little, totally okay. So overall, I think the film very good, done very well. The swinging was great, the action was great, the characters are great. Destin did a great job. Tom, obviously, his performance so good. I'm gonna honestly get into some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, click away, come back to it, go watch it, come back. Then, all right, let's get into spoilers. Sadie Sink, Jean Grey. We fucking knew it. This might be one of the worst secrets Marvel has ever kept. Like, fans fucking knew she was Jean Grey since they casted her. Like, low key, and I know she could have been other characters. There's other characters with red hair. They could have put a wig on her, dyed her hair, or something, right? But the more and more the film was getting closer to release, we were like, no, she's definitely fucking Jean Grey. There's no fucking way she's not. But Sadie, her performance, holy shit. She was incredible. I like that she was kind of the antagonist, kind of the villain of the film, but not really. She was more the antagonistic figure, but she was so good. Every single scene she was in, I was like, holy shit, she's incredible. She's so fucking good. And obviously, I knew she was going to kill whatever role that they were going to give her because she's a great actor. Obviously, her on Stranger Things, as Max, she's so good. She's great as Max, especially in season 4. She's incredible. So I knew going into this film, no matter what role they give her, whether she's Jean Grey or not, whatever, she's gonna fucking kill that shit. And I loved that she was just stringing Spider Man along. She was trying to get in his head, and he was like not letting her. That was great. I like that whenever there's this scene on the rooftop with Peter and MJ is like, "Oh, we knew each other, didn't we?" And she like takes off his mask and kisses him, and she's like, "Peter?" And I was like, "Wait, she kissed him and remembered? That's like some Disney shit." And then she hugs, and she's like, "That's right, Peter. Hold her." I was like, "Oh, let's fucking go." She was just tugging on his heartstrings and just stringing him along like a fucking puppet. She was so fucking good. She was incredible. And Zendaya in that scene was great. How she was able to go from like, "Yes, Peter, oh my god, I remember you," to like, "That's right, hold her," and jumps off the roof and shit. Zendaya in that scene was great. Every single scene she was in, oh my god, she was great. Which brings me to the next scene. The Hulk scene was great. I kind of wish that they didn't put it all over the trailers, you know, because I think that surprise and that reveal would have been a lot better if we didn't know going in, right? Because like we knew that was going to happen in the film, but we didn't know. I didn't know when or how, and it was great, right? Seeing Peter and then the Punisher, he's shooting at the Hulk and everything, and he's just like, Frank, what are you doing? What are you gonna tickle him to death? That's not gonna fucking do anything. Like, that was great. Seeing that Hulk fight was great. Him putting on the shocker glove and giving him this big ass punch was great. Him going around the building and like webbing up Hulk, great. Punisher being mind controlled by Jean, and she's like, "Holy fuck, this guy has got problems." Great. When he's about to kill the damage control guy and then gets snapped out of it, and he's like, "Is that my gun?" Great. And her and Tom really like worked really well together. Every scene that they were in was amazing. She was just so good, and he's great, so good. The flashback scene we get with her and her sister, how her sister used her powers to hold back Jean, so she also didn't get taken, had me fucking tearing up, dude. That flashback scene was incredible. And seeing Jean when she looked up at the vent and sees VMAX, and she was like, "Holy shit, this is the last thought my sister had before she died. They fucking killed her. Fuck you." And that kind of emotional, that like emotional spark sparked her to fucking literally freeze a whole, like half of fucking New York. Had half of New York doing the fucking mannequin challenge. She had everybody locked, bro. Very reminiscent to Charles Xavier's like seizure whenever he like has like seizures in Logan and kind of makes everybody like freeze. Very reminiscent of that, but this time she was doing this shit on purpose, and it was really good. Really shows how powerful Jean is. Yeah. So Jean Grey, incredible. Ned and MJ's relationship and Peter, their friendship and their chemistry, I liked them the most in this, right? Like that scene at the party, I really enjoyed, right? That was really great. I liked that scene. I liked the party scene, really cool, right? And then the scene after where Tom is just swinging in the rain and it's all emotional and we get these flashbacks. Tom is so good in that scene, and that scene is just so powerful and emotional. And then we see, and then that scene where MJ, after the Hulk fight, and he comes back, and MJ has the note, dude, take your mask off. I want to have this conversation with Peter Parker. And he takes off his mask, and she's like, "You're the guy from the party." So good. So fucking good. She's like, "That past MJ that you knew, I'm not her. I don't know you." When she said, "I don't know you," I was like, "No, what are we doing?" That shit had me upset, bro. She had me fucking just ah. But then he swings her back to her apartment, and it's just kind of quiet, and you're just allowed to just sit and breathe with these characters, and just this quiet, kind of awkward, kind of quiet just moment of just letting these emotional beats and letting this weight of that scene kind of breathe. Great, you know. And when she invited him upstairs to see Ned, and we get this beautiful scene of them just building Legos and making movie references and just talking and laughing and having a good time. They have never felt more like best friends until that very moment. Their, like I said, their chemistry, their bond, their friendship really felt so strong here in this film, especially that scene where they're like building Legos and everything. So good. Everything about them in this scene, incredible. So, Ned and MJ, I'm glad that they didn't like fully remember like instantly, you know? I like that MJ kind of figured it out on her own, because in the end of No Way Home, she was like, "I figured it out once, I'll do it again." And she kind of did, right? So that's a great scene that I really enjoyed. Another thing I want to talk about is I think the action in the film was really nice. Obviously, like I said, I mentioned the way Tom is swinging and moving in the suit was great. But there's this opening scene with the tank that's just literally like so it's literally like peak Spider-Man. The way he's dodging bullets and moving, and there's things, a lot of things going on. He's saving people and making clips. So good. Very Spider-Man like. And obviously the Hulk fight was great. The hand fight at the end was really good too. The organic webbing, very interesting. When I heard Peter was going to get organic webbing in this film, I was like, what are we doing? Why are we they're trying too hard to be the Raimi trilogy, right? But I thought for this film, it was almost the opposite of Spider-Man 2. How in Spider-Man 2, he's going through this kind of existential life crisis, so his powers aren't working. But in this, it's the opposite, where his powers are he's going through this existential, crisis in his life that now his powers are amplified because he's diving so deep into being Spider-Man. Now the spider is taking over the man, and I fucking love that. I thought the organic webbing was done really well. I liked the spider scenes, his black eyes and everything. The scene at the end where he's about to fight the Hand, and Jean Grey's like, "You need to decide, who are you gonna be, Peter Parker or Spider-Man?" And he's like, "I can do both. I'm both." And it's just fucking up the Hand. That was a really good scene, great fight. Another thing about the film that I really enjoyed was the way it flowed. The pacing and the action and the way the movie just flows, so good. Because I'm watching this, and it was at the climax of the film where Jean Grey, she's like looking up at the vent and everything, and I'm like, oh, this is like the climax of the movie. This is like the big like end battle. Damn, I felt like I've been sitting here for like an hour, right? So the pacing is very nice. Even the slower scenes where it's just characters like talking, like Bruce and or when it's just Peter and MJ talking, or like I mentioned that scene in the apartment with them just building Legos. Even those scenes aren't dull. You're allowed to just sit and breathe with these characters, and it's not a dull moment. It's very emotional, and it just made me feel so good. And so the pacing and the way the movie flows, very seamless, very nice, and I liked that. So let's get into the final climax of the film. So Jean Grey has this guy, the damage control guy, kind of literally by the neck, if you will. And she's about to kill him. And by the way, that guy was kind of just a one-note villain. He was just kind of whatever, Like he was an okay villain, but he wasn't in enough scenes to really give him any kind of motivation or depth. It was just, oh, let's take these powers or take with these powerful weapons or take these powers and use them as weapons, basically. Okay, Yeah, so he was a bit one note, one dimensional, but it was fine because it wasn't really about him. It's a Jean Grey story. And so Jean was technically the antagonist of the film. So, him just kind of being a one note villain, I was like, whatever. And Peter lets Jean into his mind. And we get this beautiful scene with him and May, which I don't exactly know when this happened. In my opinion, I think it was based off of the suit that he was wearing. It was at the end of Homecoming, whenever May finds out Peter is Spider Man. At the very end scene of Homecoming, where he's in like his suit and May is like, "What the?" And it cuts. I think it's right after that, and she's giving him kind of this, kind of with great power with comes great responsibility, without actively saying that, but she says something along the lines of like, "Oh, it's your duty and responsibility," and something like that. So it wasn't quite that, but just kind of it was that, but it was just worded a little differently. And whenever it cuts and we see Jean sitting in Peter's spot, and we see May, she's saying these things, but they also apply to Jean because of everything that she's been through, the powers that she has, the loneliness that she feels. The things that May is saying apply to Jean, and she's really feeling that, right? This is why that Peter kind of kept holding on to that moment and that scene. And that's why when Jean tried to get into his mind, that scene would always play because of how important it felt and how Peter felt in that moment and how important it was to May and to Peter and their relationship. And he's always holding on to that moment because of what it meant to him. And he let Jean in because he knows what Jean has been through with her sister and everything. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna let you in because you need to hear this. And the things that May is saying applied to Peter, but really implied to Jean, especially in that moment. And I think she really needed to hear it. She really needed to hear that. And then whenever it cuts back to, we see Peter, and now he's taking May's spot. And Jean is like, I don't have anybody. I don't have anyone, right? Peter knows what it's like to not have anybody. Peter knows what it's like to have somebody taken from you and to be broken and to not have anybody and to be lonely. He knows exactly what that's like. And so he is talking to Jean and is like, hey, it's okay. You have me. I'll be here for you. So now you're not in this alone. It's okay. You don't have to hurt people. You don't have to kill people. You don't have to hurt people. It's okay, Gene. Like, I'll be here for you, you know? Yeah, this damage control guy, he's a son of a bitch, but you don't need to kill him. It's you don't need to hurt people. You don't need to kill people anymore. You don't need to go in people's minds. You don't need to hurt people. You don't need to do any of that anymore because I'm here. I can be your friend. I can help you. And I think Jean really needed to hear that. And, Peter talking to her instead of trying to fight her or anything like that, Peter just talks to her. And that's such a Spider-Man thing to do. It was so good. Next thing is when Punisher is about to kill Jean, and we get this really great spider sense scene. He takes the bullet for her after what she's done and everything that she's done and the people she's hurt, including Spider-Man. He still took the bullet for her. Such a Spider-Man thing to do. I mean, like I said, Tom is just now he's so fucking Spider-Man. It's so good. And then we get Punisher and he's running and he's carrying Spider-Man to the hospital. Amazing. Great scene. And we get this really sweet moment of them in the hospital together where he's like, "Have you been crying?" He's like, "No, I don't cry." Yeah, a great moment between them. Like I said, their chemistry was great. Punisher was great. Jean Grey was awesome. Loved the Wolf. And we get this beautiful, beautiful scene where he looks out and he sees all these fans. Like I said, New York, and they come together because they love Spider-Man. They come together for Spider-Man. Like I said, New York is a character, and you really see that with all the people that come together and love Spider-Man and just they all come together and just love and appreciate Spider-Man and want Spider-Man to be okay because they need him, right? That was great. And Punisher putting on the mask to kind of divert people and just think that Spider-Man is still up there. And we see this Tom looks at this little kid and he goes like to him. So good. I love that. The way this movie makes me feel is the way that Superman did last year. It just makes me feel good. It's like a comfort movie. It's like when I put this on, I'm like, dude, this is peak superhero. This is peak Spider-Man. This is just a comfort. Like just knowing that like everything is gonna work out. It's gonna be okay. You can have people taken from you. You can have bad things happen to you, but you need to hold on to that optimism and hope and be okay. Life moves on and life goes on. That it's okay. And so just the way Spider-Man and just the way this movie makes me feel, incredible, dude. Just so good. Just him coming out the hospital and he's just amongst the crowd of all the Spider-Man fans. So good. I loved it. Such a good, well made, well written film that you can really tell the directors and writers and actors, everybody really just cared about these characters and cared about what the fans think and have to say. And you can really tell that they just put so much love and care and thought into this film. Really had to like nitpick and have like a couple of cons, a couple of like things that really don't bring it down, but like they're maybe just some nitpicks. Is Yelena's cameo? I loved it, and I love seeing more Yelena. I'm not complaining, but it just felt like a gag. It felt like Yelena was just kind of there, just to. It was there for just a gag. She was like, "Take it off your clothes," and it's like, what? A little unnecessary, kind of goofy, but I didn't mind it. For like the 2 seconds she was on screen, who cares? I'm not gonna complain about more Yelena. She was a little exposition dumpy. She was like, "Oh, you're looking for this. Well, this and that." You know. Okay. But I liked the analogy. I like the we handled big potato things. Spider-Man, you do small potato. New Avengers, we do big potato. So, it was really funny. It was cute. Another small thing is Spider-Man. Where the fuck is he getting money, right? Because we see him pretty much be Spider-Man 24/7. We see him, obviously, he has an apartment, so he's obviously paying rent. New York rent ain't fucking cheap, right? He's ordering Little Caesars. He's buying flowers every fucking week. Where's he getting this stuff, right? Again, also his tech. Where the fuck's he getting all that tech from, right? Now, we do see in Civil War that he takes like, he dumpster dives and takes like old like tech that people throw away and repurposes it and uses that. So maybe that happens. Maybe that's where he's getting all his tech from. Just tech that people threw out, but because of how smart he is and how tech savvy he is, he's able to just rework it and repurpose it for himself. possibly sell some. Maybe that's where he's getting his money. Maybe I would have liked like a him taking pictures of in the action and selling the pictures to Jay Jonah, and we get a Jay Jonah cameo. That would have been kind of interesting, but that's okay. Another thing, I want to talk about that final scene. This isn't really a nitpick because I really like that scene. I enjoyed it. When he goes up to Ned and they're doing the handshake, and I'm like, yes, this is amazing. But how does he quite remember that? Right? Him doing the handshake, I think it's just muscle memory. But does he recognize him as Peter? Right? Because he was like, oh, Spider Man's name is Peter. But does he recognize him as Spider Man? Does he recognize him as Peter? Does he just the spell not work anymore? Because we saw in No Way Home, Ned might have a little bit of magic in him. So maybe the spell didn't fully work and now he's just kind of snapped back into it. Who knows? So the ending was kind of left a little like, oh, does Ned remember? Does he not? Interesting. I want to know these things. So I want to know that. But again, that's not really a nitpick because that scene was great. So now let's get into the post credit scene. Wasn't really anything crazy. It just showed the spider tracker, but like it's like, oh, Spider-Man's location unknown, and then it shows it going like wherever the fuck out in space, and it's like new location found. So I want to know, is he in another universe? Is he maybe on Battle World? Who knows, right? Because he's not going to be in Doomsday, but Spider-Man's going to be in Secret Wars, and I think whenever we get to Secret Wars, Spider-Man's going to be on Battle World. That could be Battle World. He could be in another universe and is maybe using the tracker to kind of like maybe call for help or something, or let people know, or maybe let Ned and MJ know that he's okay. Something, right? Who knows what it means? Doomsday's coming out soon, and then next year we're getting Secret Wars. So who knows, what it fully means, but we'll find out soon enough. So, but yeah, overall, just go and see this film because it's so fucking good. This movie, just the way it makes me feel, just knowing how good Tom is as Spider Man. Everybody does such a good job in this. Sadie Sink as Jean Grey is great. The Wolf is great. The opening montage with Tombstone and Scorpion is great. Everybody in this film is great. The action is amazing. Hulk is great. Punisher is great. Ned, MJ, everybody in this movie does such a good job, and you can tell they really cared about these characters and what they have and what they mean to people and what they have to say. It's just so good. Everything about it, incredible. Give me a whole fucking trilogy like this, right? Because they'll do like the big multiversal stuff when they do the Avengers films coming up. But then after Secret Wars, give me a Spider Man 5. Again, another street level stuff. Because you can still have big stakes with street level, right? I mean, Jean Grey had fucking half of New York literally like fucking frozen. And Peter had to stop that because people could have gotten hurt and possibly killed if she kept holding on to them any longer. So you can still have big stakes and still do street level stuff. Thunderbolts literally proved that. So give me the whole fucking trilogy. Hopefully, maybe we get maybe some other villains, because I liked Jean Grey in this film, but I can't help but think, damn, I kind of wish we got a Spider-Man villain as the actual villain, but that's okay because she was great. Sadie Sink pretty much has locked down this Marvel role and is gonna have a fucking X-Men career ahead of her. So, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Good for her because she's great. So she'll probably be in an X-Men movie coming up soon after the Avengers films. Um, Give me more Spider-Man villains. Give me fucking, give me a Spider-Man 5 street level. Maybe set up Venom. Give me Venom. Wouldn't mind Venom. So, hell yeah, this film's so good. I fucking love it. Just the way it makes me feel, it's so good. Life always just is a little brighter when there's a new Spider-Man movie, and I love it. All right. Yeah, so that's going to conclude my review today. What you guys think of the film. Let me know if you liked it, disliked it, what you did like about the movie, if you agree with me, if just whatever you guys think, my take and my review on the film. It's been your boy Absolute. Follow my Instagram at Absolute Reviews 23. Take care.